That's odd, but here we go. So good morning, everybody. Hello, Mandy, Carrie, Rafi, Joni, Dove, and all you folks out there listening on the radio, and all you folks out there on YouTube. So grateful to be here with you all. And we're here for Is-ness is Your Only Business with our dear friend Mandy. Mandy, how are you?
Oh, great. Thank you. Yeah, very well. It's lovely to see you all. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
It's great to be here with you as well. I had a really wonderful. My son and his family came over to visit, and I hadn't seen them for a really long time. I hadn't even seen my newest grandson, who was born on Christmas, so I got to spend some time. Wow, with probably the most beautiful baby I ever saw. Besides my son, he just reminded me so much of my son as a baby. So it was really lovely, lovely to spend some time with them. So I'm not sure why my screen is, but I'm sure it's not turning blue for you guys. So it's just odd. But anyway, so good morning. And this morning we are going to be looking at um, this lovely poem. Let me see, not this one, because there we go. Sorry, I'm whistling. It tends to be my go-to thing. Here we go. Um, a beautiful poem called Soul Power. Soul Power. So let's just take a breath. And I'll read this poem for us. Soul Power. I am the firstborn, spotless, eternally free. This is the only truth about me. I am infinite abundance, shining brighter than a sun dance, existing as everything at the same time, omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent, divine, fulfilling, expressing, regenerating, multiplying, overflowing good for all, infinitely supplying love, protection, companionship, provision. I am all of this with no possible division, inseparable from God. I am the soul of generosity, demonstrating good with lightning velocity. I'm a continuous flow of giving and receiving, outpouring beyond any human conceiving. To be an outlet for good is my sole purpose, my brand. Only in this direction do I feel myself expand. A river of bounty for the benefit of all, thriving as I am obeying soul's call. I have to say that this poem really reflects the way that I feel, pouring out endlessly love, goodness, hope, joy, being the one, the Holy Son of God, the one that's beloved and beloving. How beautiful. Rafi, I see you have your hand up. I see Matt.
Yeah, this is what I remind myself of several times a day. You put it so beautifully and so concisely. But being divinely guided, divinely provided for, divinely protected, for the everything is for the good of all, by and for the good of all, omnipotent, omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent. It's in the mornings when I get up and I go through all the stuff that I do, the meditating and the clarity and the cleanup exercises I do, releasing, this stuff comes up over and over and over again, constantly reinforcing it. And then I turn this on and it's staring me right in the face, reminding me, okay, what am I? Divinity, infinite, not a person. There are no people. There are no bodies. The body is just projection, a mental projection. It's not real. It's not true. It's not me, and it's doing its job perfectly, serving perfectly. Uh, Thank you so much for this. This is just right. Oh boy, talk about right on the nose. Wow. I am a river of bounty for the benefit of all. Woo! Thank you.
Thank you. Oh. Oh, are you able to take down the share now? At the shared screen there, Lynn? Please, if that's all right. Oh, that's good. I just wanted to see Rafi. Oh, Rafi, that's absolutely that's great. Yeah, the thing that I was going to say is that whenever yeah, whenever we get anything come up, whatever it is, I don't know, anything, irritation towards somebody, worried about your finances, anything like that. It is because we just forget that we are this limitless thing, and we actually hug. I was really realizing this morning because you know how I know that you and me were talking about Sedona release because I can't help it. That is the basis of my teaching, and so I was watching a David Elsley one, and it was lovely, and it was about that the fifth way of releasing, um, which is really about disidentifying from whatever you conceive the problem to be. So, because if we think that like finances are the problem, then we can sort of believe that that is part of our identity. And the thing is, no matter how much or how long we've been on this path of seeing that we are everything that it just said in that poem, you're right, Rafi. It's something that we constantly have to remind ourselves of because otherwise we identify with the problem. And I had a breakthrough this morning because I really thought about that. Because the thing is, when you're in this kind of how should we say line of work that we're all in here, we're all in this together. You can overlook little subconscious patterns like hugging a problem and you don't realize how much you're identifying with that problem. And I held my hands up. I was identifying with me being somebody that's useless with money and having a problem with money and all that sort of thing. And, I really sort of saw just doing this fifth way of breaking through that I'd been holding it close as an identity. So there was Mandi that's useless with money. And hadn't realized that I had adopted, that identity rather than being the awareness that just sees that as a complete non-true story, that it's nothing to do with my identity. And it was dropping that identity, that because otherwise, if we have problems with money or problems with ill health or problems with relationships, it doesn't matter what it is. If that's been a recurring thing, it's slipped under the radar. Our radar, which is always, if we're honest, yeah, we're all sort of doing this stuff and reminding ourselves of it every day, that we are this great omnipotence, omniscience, omnipresence. But what slips under the radar is these habits and these little addictions or these beliefs that we haven't seen, that we're still identifying with. That's, you know, Mandi with her problem, Lynn with her problem, whoever with their problem. You know what I mean? I'm not picking anybody out. It's just that it isn't, and it never has been. It doesn't stick to us unless we stick to it as that identity. It is not our identity. Having money problems, you know, that isn't in omnipresence and omniscience, and it isn't in it. So it can't be in our identity either. But do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know if anybody else has got anything to say about this, but you can, how you know, you can just slip under the radar and claim something as your identity, poor at relationships, bad with money, da-di-da-di-da, whatever it is. And so I'm really glad that you picked that poem, because it totally reinforced for me what I was just, you know, getting real clear about today, you know. And it's just very, very freeing to drop the identity that we have. You know, like even the first poem I've written in that book is, what is your identity if you are not your name? Doesn't mean that I don't forget. You know, that it, you know, that I have to keep just as much watch on it as everybody else. And so, and that's why I wrote these poems, because it's constant reminders, you know. So so thank you very much for choosing that one and reading that one, Lynn. And thank you, Rafi, what you said, because absolutely beautiful.
There's one little danger. Ego is so sneaky. And for instance, I remind myself all the time, I'm an infinite being. I am infinite. Okay. And then it'll come up, well, hey, you know, I'm infinite. And then you get right into pride right away. And that's that ego, you know, working its diabolical little ways of reinforcing itself. And the best thing I can do is step back and not identify with it. And go, okay, there it goes. It's doing its thing again. Okay, forgive it, Father. It knows not what it does. That isn't what I am. This isn't what I am. This is a projected thought image, and get back to acceptance. Yes, peace. Yes, am I at peace at this moment? As soon as I say that, well, I am, and then all of that stuff it drifts away. It weakens. It weakens, and the more I reinforce the truth, uh, the more solid it becomes, so to speak, and the more it weakens the ego's diabolical little twists and turns, employs and tactics that it uses all the time to maintain itself, to stay, keep it from dying. And we're talking about a concept here. I mean, you can't point to it and say, "Oh, there's the ego. There's that thing over there." You know, there is no thing over there. It's just like there's nothing out. There's no out there, out there. Um, these poems are terrific reminders of all that. Thank you.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you guys so much, both of you. And yeah, this poem in particular inspired me because as I was saying earlier, I had my kids, my son and his wife, and my two little grandsons who came to visit. And of course, I had my other grandchildren, my daughter and her husband. And it was just like a beautiful family reunion. We were all together except for my one grandson who's living in Albuquerque. And, you know, I was I came up with this respiratory issue that honestly I thought was I thought was going to kill me. I thought I was going to die. And I started looking at, what is the I? What do I mean? What would these people think? What would these people do? How would these people experience? What am I to them? And, I realized that in my mind, I have made myself responsible. All of you, the people here at Gather, Dove, Joni, all of you. What have I made myself in my mind to everyone, thinking that I've made myself to be this beacon of love. This, as just as the poem says, I made myself to be that way and forgot that, I'm just an expression of that. I'm an expression of God's love. I'm an expression of the universal heart, and it really has nothing to do with the me, Lynn, the body or the person. And then yesterday morning, my niece, who was the same age as my daughter, they grew up together, and she had cervical cancer and she passed away. It was pretty sad for the whole family to have this beautiful girl just gone so young. And I guess I was just reflecting a lot on, what do we mean to each other, and what do I mean to you, and what do you mean to me? And thinking, all of these are expressions of God. It's all expressions of God, and not in a singular way, like, I'm the it, I'm all. I'm a part of all of it, and but I can express all of it because all expressions of love are maximal. Um, so, who was I not expressing that to? And I realized I've been having a lot of judgments coming up. I've been looking at fearful thoughts about the politics and the weather and all these different things that seem to be happening in the world. And, realizing that, what I mean, what I am is I'm just here to be truly helpful. And as that beautiful prayer that we have in A Course in Miracles that Jesus gave to us and to Bill Thetford, I'm here only to be truly helpful. And I'm here to represent you, God, you who sent me. And I don't have to worry about what to say or what to do because you, God, will give me everything. I'm content to be wherever you want me to be, knowing that you're right here with me, and I will be healed as I let you teach me to heal. Um, that's it. It's just, I forgot that it was God working through me, not just me, the person, the personality, uh, the the thing that I do, that I think that I'm doing. It really is just God working through me. And God will work through me in this way as long as I'm needed here in this way. And when I'm not needed here in this way anymore, um, then I will be working God through some other way. So it's never ending. And that's what I think is so beautiful about this poem. It really is reminding myself of what I really am. I am the firstborn, spotless and eternally free. This is the only truth about me. It's the only truth about me. It has nothing to do with what I do or who I do it with. It just has to do with me being what I am. And that really shifted me um, because I realized I'm not responsible for any of it, none of it. Dove, please go ahead.
Okay. When I was listening to poem, what came up for me is something I say a lot, but I put it in words, I put it in the chat. Whatever can be measured by a metric, or let's just say whatever can be measured is never the problem, ever. Because whatever can be measured is form, and we are content. We are content, which is exactly what those words, omnipotence, omnipresence, all those holy, innocent words are saying. There's nothing outside of the oneness, the sameness, the equality. So what is one, what is the same, what is equal cannot be measured. Just can't be measured. Who is it that's going to measure it? You think there's something outside can measure something that is, it's like an is-ness? No, is-ness is allness. So that's really what I want to say. Never confuse form with content. And that's what we do so easily in this world. It's a world of perception. And these eyes only perceive form, have no ability to recognize content. That's it.
That's it. Yeah. Does anybody else have any thoughts? Joni, please go ahead.
Well, I'm always looking for ways to experience these lessons, and it helps playing almost the whole book every morning, Mandy, almost the whole book. So, but by the next day, I've gotten the whole book, and there's a group of people that come on and we listen to it. And so one of the things that I got from this poem was, when I limit myself and I'm identifying, thus judging and complaining or telling a story about, I realized that in that hook of the lions or the hook of the thought beads, then what am I doing? I'm blocking. I'm putting all my energy, because it's where I focus my attention is where my energy flows. When I'm doing that, I'm so blocking the infinite, the V8, the voice of the infinite, the infinite possibilities. I don't get to co-create with God. I block it in that swamp of the ego that's grabbing on. When I relax or pause, the minute I pause or release it or practice those releases, which I often now do when things aren't as triggering, then in that relaxed mind, I notice the habits aren't there. I feel a little free forming, floating, and then I'm getting a little bit of an inspiration. So my example has been, I must still have a habit with the X. And so in that game or story of ego, I had this story where there's a party coming up, of a funeral, and I want to go because I look fabulous and I kind of want to show off because these people knew me when I was young and all that. Well, that triggered the X, and it reflected back. The screen reflected back that he's like, I don't feel comfortable. I don't want to go. If you want to drive yourself, I can't stop you. And I was like, holy crap, I thought I was being kind and holy and present. But in reality, there is underneath that an identity that I'm better than them. They're a bunch of drunks. And I really just want to go and be that sexy presence that is successful, even if the bank account doesn't say it. But I just look fabulous. And boy, I realize how grateful I am that this teacher, who nobody on the planet thinks is mean and negative and horrible and lie, no experience with. And then I relaxed into he's right. There's still a part of me. And when I brought it up to Maureen in the group, she said, sometimes you're not ready to go to that party. Sometimes, your consciousness is not ready for that. And so, in this, it's not, even though it is a light switch, I can have a V8 instantly. I can also, like we said, fool myself that my identity still needs the eroding of who, the Holy Spirit's interpretation. And bottom line is, I still realize I don't see some of those people as the Christ. I see them as some drunks. And the guy died, in my opinion, the guy died of related drinking things. And I asked my ex, I said, how many people do you think will be here? Because in my mind, I'm seeing this drunk on the street level of drinking. And he said to me, there'll be 100 people there. He was the glue that in high school and blah, 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 and community. And I never experienced him that way, but I also blocked that knowledge. And I had to humble myself that who the F do I think I am? Oh, ego, who knows everything about this guy, when there are so many other experiences, just like how other people experience my ex. I was really humbled and I apologized, and I'm not going to go. Damn those sexy high heels I don't get to use yet.
Oh, is that okay if I just respond?
Go right ahead. Yes.
Thank you, Lynn. Yeah. No, first of all, that was highly entertaining and very funny. I think reunions should be banned. What I mean is, they are the place that ego absolutely loves. It's a place where people are in comparison, or they're shocked at how people are aged, or undermined because somebody looks better than they do, or other people have been more successful. I mean, I think I've been to 2 reunions in my whole life, which reunions of musicians that I used to play with and stuff like that. Big mistake, and I'd never ever do that again. I mean, these people were stories of a past anyway. So, and really, I've got no interest in what they're doing now, or what they've ever done, or what they will do. And that might sound a bit harsh, but I'm just being honest. I just haven't got any interest in that. And it always begs me the question, why do people want to do it? What's the purpose? Because if somebody had remained a really good friend of yours from way back, that's different, but you don't have to go to a reunion to see them. You'd be in contact with them. So why are we going? And it really does not feed the ego. Either in criticizing ourselves, criticizing other people, or comparing. And I mean, it's a real ego story. I can't see I can't see people. Yeah, I suppose I was thinking, I can't see Jesus going to a reunion, but I suppose he did in a way, because he did reunite with his apostles and everything. But I don't think ego will have been like a big part of that. But yeah, it's funny because we just make up these ideas bit by bit, don't we? We make them up like a film strip, one strip after another, and they're all false ideas. And people worry a lot, as far as I can see, before they go to a reunion, and then they worry more after it. So I don't think you've missed out at all.
No, well, I want to add, thank you for pointing that out. The woman that I am a friend, and it's the 2 husbands, my ex and hers, that know this guy. So when she was talking to me, I did end up humbly saying, I apologized to my ex and said, okay, I won't go. To her, I said, we are in touch. Let's just do a lunch date. But my ego wanted to wear the shoes and go prance around, but I'm not going to do it, because what if somebody's there better, so I'm just letting it go. But it was a fun story to watch in my mind. It was a funny.
Yeah, I mean, it was very entertaining. And also, you know, if you've got, there's nothing wrong with getting some nice bits of clothing or something, but you know, you can just wear them in a place where they'll, you know, you feel comfortable, and it's just not a place where it's about comparison or looking any particular way, isn't it, really? You know, yeah, I've just
I
got to
was
think
just
about.
outing my ego, just letting you see it.
Yeah, there's no ego, of course. You know how I feel about that word ego, because there isn't an entity called an ego. It's just thoughts arising in the moment, isn't it? So we can just let them go and enjoy the entertaining part.
It's all pretty funny. It is because you know, I think, you know, I've always had that kind of, you know, Cinderella story in my mind that, you know, I was the, you know, the ugly duckling in high school, and you know, and I made the mistake of joining a group called Classmates on, I don't know what the hell it is, but anyway, excuse me. And you know, started looking up some of these people that I you know, went to high school with. You know, my God, I dropped out of high school to get away from those people. So you know, I started looking at, you know, like the one guy that I had really uh kind of had a crush on, you know, is, you know, he's got his doctorate, and he works for the UN, and he does relief all over the world. And, you know, I mean, like, you know, some of these people have some really illustrious lives, and you know, I look at them and I think, oh my gosh, you know, what do I, you know, I'm going to go to them and say, you know, I run a spiritual group and read A Course in Miracles. You know, that's, you know, I just, I was, you know, thinking, you know, what, you know, success story do I have to bring to these folks? Um, but the reality of it is, I have an incredible success story that I know myself, that I know myself. I know so much more about myself than I ever about, you know, God, and the connection that I have with the universe. And why would I want to compare myself to any of any of these people? Because, you know, we, exactly as Dove says, we are all the same. We are all the same. And you know, I was, you know, spent years thinking of how can I show these people up, people that were teenagers in high school. You know, it's just ridiculous. It's so silly, because we've all had our lives, we all have our families, we've all had our heartbreaks and our successes. All of these things have occurred. And, you know, what makes me think that, you know, mine is any more special than anyone else's? You know, so I appreciate your funeral story, Joni. You know, you know, I think one of the funniest lines I've ever um, seen or heard was uh, in the movie Moonstruck, which is my favorite movie of all time. And someone says something to her, the Loretta, the girl, the woman, and she said, and you know, you'll die, and I'll come to your funeral wearing a red dress. And I think about that. You'll die, and I'll come to your funeral wearing a red dress. That's the kind of revenge that we're looking at getting back on people that were just, you know, just like us in the same boat. Arafi, please go ahead. And hi, Mickey. Good to see you, my friend.
Yeah, in regard to the reunion thing, I mean, Deb and I graduated the same high school in 1958, and we've had bunches and bunches of reunions. And in never one of them did I ever see anybody comparing themselves to anybody else. We were just all happy to be together. And after 65 years, many of us are still in touch with each other by email, by phone. I mean, I just heard from I just heard from Kenny Mitchell a couple of days ago, and there was some Joe Flynn had a thing. Anyhow, one of the I mean, talk about how blessed we are, and how this dream life, how this illusion is serving us perfectly. I just looked at that and thought, my God, I'm so grateful for all of that. That many of us, for instance, disagree a lot politically. Makes absolutely no difference whatsoever. We're still us, and our political views are our business. It has nothing to do with the relationships that we have with each other. And the master of all of this is that no matter what's going on, everybody is a mirror to our consciousness. Everybody. That's the blessing. They're just showing us what's going on in us that we either have to correct or that we have overcome, let go of, worked our way through to get to the only purpose there is, and that is self-awakening, self-realization, however you define that for yourself. But the mirror part of all of that is that I look at all of these people and I love them unconditionally, and there's never any this guy's better, that woman has got this going. None of that ever goes on. And sometimes it blows me away how incredibly blessed I am. And that's the divine working through us constantly, because we are infinitely lovingly guided, constantly guided every step of the way. And all I got to do is pay attention to that. And the paying attention of it shows more and more the blessings that come through the dream, that come through the illusion, that say, I'm more connected with the truth of my infinite self than mind can ever even consider or understand, because the ego mind can't grasp what infinity is, can't grasp what how many times have we heard the finite can't possibly know what the infinite is? Well, the infinite is truth, the finite is illusion, and the illusion is still teaching us. So everything here is serving us. And again, blown away by how blessed I am. Thank you.
Thank you, Rafi. Yeah, that's it. We are infinitely loved, cherished, in the same exact being that we are. And the only one who doesn't know that is me. I'm the only one who doesn't really know that, and because I'm the only one that I know about, and that's the only one I'm responsible for. So that really lets me off the hook. I'm not here to be, everyone's mother or grandmother, or even though I feel like I am, that's you know that's a role, and it's not the truth of what I am. Karen, hey, welcome. Good to see you, my friend. Come on in.
Hi, everybody. I just want to say I was listening on the radio, and I just want to say how much I'm enjoying this conversation. I'm just loving it. And I loved Joni's story. I was laughing out loud, Joni, when you were saying that story. And I was thinking to myself, why don't you take a profile picture of yourself with those high heels on, get decked out, take a picture and just put it up as a profile picture? Like, what the hell? I mean, if you got it, flaunt it, I mean, why not? I'm serious too. I'm not kidding when I'm saying that, because I mean, we're changing all the time. This too shall pass. I'm not going to look like this forever. I'm going through so many things right now physically, and I just took a shower and I'm looking at my body in the mirror, and I'm looking at like these screws sticking out of my back, and I'm just looking at like everything that's changing. And it's really sometimes frustrating, but other times it's like, it's reminding me that this is not who I am, that I am not this body. I am looking at lesson 32 right now, and I have invented the world I see. I have invented the world I see. I am making the whole thing up, all of it. And this is what I need to be reminded of all the time, because it's not the truth. If it's not complete oneness, only equals are a piece. And if I'm comparing myself to anyone, I am never going to be a piece. But the beauty of it is, I love the way today we're not guilty about it. We notice it. and we move on. And you did what you did. Like Ken Wapnick would call you a good Course in Miracles student, because there's nothing wrong with the judgment. There's nothing wrong with what you said by saying I'm still seeing them as drunks, is like that is a good Course in Miracles student, being honest, looking at that, and then being honest and true to yourself. That, no, I don't have to go there. I could see peace instead of this. And I just loved your story, Joni. I just had to share. And I have invented the world I see, and I can choose to see it differently. Thank you so much, all of you. This is such a good conversation.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much, Karen. And we have all missed you, really. Thank you so much for coming.
Absolutely. Yeah. And God, how beautiful it is, that, I'm looking at it and thinking, you know, my purpose the ego purpose of my life is to be the victim, and to be the one that, nobody liked, and the one who was weird and odd. And I could have very easily just been like everyone else. It was my own self desire to be different that put me in that place where I was not the in crowd, or I could have easily been one of those people, easily have been one of those people. And I chose to be different, to the point where I was, I saw myself as an outcast. It is interesting to find out, talking to other people who did know me at the time, and have known, I've been off and on with, that they thought I was pretty cool. At the time I thought they probably thought I was just, wicked. But I'm referring to the Broadway play, as well as my own thinking about myself, thinking that I was, so special and couldn't possibly be like them because they were so ordinary. It was my own desire that put me out like that. So, what makes me think that they had anything to do with it at all? They what they thought, and they were acting and reacting to what I gave, the story I gave them. I made it up. You're right, Karen. I'm inventing this world as I go along, and it was a world that was made to make me special. So I love all of that. Joni, please go ahead.
I just wanted to add I'm excited because I'm more aware. And in that pause that Mandi talks about, that's when inspiration and laughter comes. So as I'm recognizing these are just thoughts, the power I used to give them was so more grabby. It was so more intense. Now it's like, yeah, that's just a silly thought. I can let that go. I can let that go in the next pause. And I also notice in the pause, I start to remember the lessons more. I start to remember the poem more. I start to remember that who I am more. And so I was making that all fun for us because I had to laugh. I was like, oh crap, I'm still having those thoughts. Look at me. You know? And then let it go. Yes.
Ever saw that movie Carrie? Great analogy that is to the idea of being, different, not in a way that was helpful or helpful to anybody. And what she ended up doing was just taking her revenge out on everybody, or her anger just went out on everybody. And if you don't know the movie, it's about a young girl who's she is special. She has powers. She doesn't even know it. And she's being raised by a mother who's really religious and really afraid of these powers she knows her daughter has, I think. And everybody in school, being really teasing her and treating her like, unfairly. And they trick her into believing that she won the prom queen. She became the prom queen. And when she's standing up on the stage, they had gotten like this big bucket of pig's blood for some reason and had it up over her head. And then as soon as she was up there getting her uh, special treatment of being a prom queen, they dumped this whole bucket of blood all over her and her dress and everything. And she went kind of crazy and her powers spewed out. And basically she destroyed the school and killed everybody, just, made this huge, terrible mess. And I realized how when I saw that, I was like, yes, you know, yes, she's getting her revenge for, the ill treatment that she was getting. I was, and I think everybody was cheering for her. There weren't people that were saying, oh, those poor kids that are being mistreated or being killed, or how terrible for them. They were like, yes, Carrot, get your revenge. And isn't that this world? Isn't that this world? We're looking at, so much that's happening, that seems to be happening, that just if you're looking at it through the human mind or the ego mind, you're seeing, people are being mistreated. I have to protect them. People are being hurt. I have to be the hero, and to be the protecting and the hero, I have to destroy these other people that are doing these bad things. Or, I could be cheering on terrible things happening to them because, of who I think I am and what I think I am. That is the way the world has perpetuated itself from the time of our coming in here. It's all a way of getting revenge, basically, on a God that we think has put us in a bad situation. So, uh, and Dove says, yeah, that's making the movie real. And the same thing with Wicked, the whole thing of, poor Elphaba being so mistreated, and she went out and became wicked. That seems to be a part of the evil and revenge story. So, and I see that is the story I have lived my whole life, is someday I'm going to get back at those people. And how ridiculous that is, because they're innocent and we're all innocent, and no one has done anything or is doing anything. God doesn't see us in that way at all. And why I let myself see other people that way. I have been seeing a lot of of anger and revenge in my life, in my personality lately. And I think it does have to do with the political climate, the climate, so many ways. I just, I want people to see how wrong they are and how right I am. And it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and it's not who I am. It's not what I am. But I've identified myself with something that is so separate from the real being that I am, that I have allowed myself to have these crazy thoughts. Dove, go ahead, and then Mickey.
Okay, that was a great sharing. Thank you so much, Lynn. And I heard you mention Wicked a couple of times, and it was just announced, at least the first time I heard it, it's going to be made into a movie. It is already a movie. It's coming out very shortly. I think it could be here by Christmas. I'm not sure. And the lead is played by Ariana Grande, and she plays it really wonderfully. I saw some shots from it. Yeah, everything that you're really saying comes from taking things seriously. I was listening to Ken Wapnick, his new series. Those who get my Ken Wapnick audio recordings, he's on a new series called Psychotherapy and Psychology, which obviously is one of my favorite ways of looking at the course. And I hear him saying this morning, it was never the tiny mad idea that entered into eternity that was the problem. That was not the problem. He says, how could something that doesn't exist be a problem? We remember not to laugh. Whenever you take anything here seriously, you're right back into the problem again. I mean, I must confess, I know it's politics time, seems to be something that's even dividing country more, the world more. I don't know. But I really don't take, and Sharon is really in the same place. Sharon, Art Lady Sharon, is basically saying, no matter who wins, it's perfect.
That's huge.
What I think that I should know who is better. Really, no, it's always perfect the way it is. It doesn't matter what you think. I mean, it kind of reminds me of Shakespeare. Uh, what's that comment? Maybe you can help me out.
Yes, no, it's that one. I put it in one of my poems. There's
Yeah.
nothing right or wrong except thinking makes it so. She
Actually,
said
That's
it
it.
was a miracle.
Oh.
Yeah.
nothing wrong here, but thinking makes it so. Yeah. Okay, that's me. Over to you, Mickey.
Gosh, I've almost kind of lost my thought, but something Lynn said really struck me about that whole thing about revenge and getting our revenge on people. But even when we're trying to be right-minded about it, there's that saying that says living well is the best revenge. Instead of trying to get even with people or get back to people, just live your life well. That's your revenge. Well, even that is separation. Even that even when we're trying to be so good and think that we're being higher than them, I'm going to take the high road. That's another saying. Okay, I'm going to take the high road and not be vengeful about this. But you're still calling your brother wrong.
Yeah.
And you're still saying that I'm better than you. And it's still that split. And today's lesson was a really good one for that. Let me forget my brother's past today. And it doesn't talk too much about that, but it you know I got to recognize that I am the same. We're all, like Karen and Dove love to say, we're equal. We're in this together. We can't say, oh, I'm the better person. I'm not going to take this out on you. I'm going to take the high road. I'm just going to live well. We got to say, you're the same as me, that I have made mistakes also, that I'm just as in this as you are, until I'm not, until I can completely let go of the ego. And I sure haven't yet. So there you
Yeah,
go.
thank you, Mickey.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, this is one of my favorite lessons too. Let me forget my brother's past today. Wow, what a concept, right? To just not think about what I thought about them or what I imagined about them and the story I had about them. Just see them anew, see everyone anew. Um, and how freeing that is. So we're coming up to our time, but I'm going to go ahead and Rafi and Dove both have something to share, and then if I could ask Mandi to reread the poem for us before we close out, and apologize for going over a little bit. Rafi, do you want to go ahead, please?
Yeah, I had a great example yesterday. My two favorite my favorite football team and my favorite baseball team were both playing on the same day opposite each other. I was going back and forth and back and forth, and they both lost. And I said, what a terrible disaster, except that baseball is like theater, it's entertainment. Football is like theater, it's entertainment. What are you getting so caught up in it? It's just entertainment. And then I looked at the presidential race and said, that's just entertainment too. It's like somebody is writing a really bad movie. And and the dream was here to teach those two teams that were playing with, teach me a lesson that the political thing that's going on is here. Everything here for me. I take the stream seriously. You learn what you learn from it and laugh at the rest. So that's what the other thing, Lynn, about what you were saying about how vicious and you want to kill this and you want to kill that. In the release technique, that comes under wanting control. Wanting control is wanting to kill. You want it to be different and you're frustrated because you can't. Just welcome the wanting control feeling and allow it to leave. You'd be amazed how cleansing it is. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Rafi. Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, I'm taking that to heart right now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Dove, please go ahead.
Yeah, listening to Rafi makes me, I've been thinking the last couple of days about Rafi and I doing an Abbott and Costello and taking it out on the road. I really, I was going to call you today, Rafi, on it. I guess what I raised my hand about is the only problem is our identity problem. As long as you identify with a body, which we are not a body, tells you that 23 times, you're not a body, is that, as long as you are a body, that's the way you're going to see things, and I forgot, maybe it was Mandi, or I don't know who is it that was sharing. I guess it was Mandi, that we all share the same purpose, but purpose is of mind. You got to get out of the belief of a body to be able to recognize we do share one mind. One mind. I have to be the name of my first book, One into Oneness. So the one mind, which basically is the idea that we are one. In bodies, we could never be one, and in mind, we are one. You are one with our Creator who created us as Himself one, or herself one, doesn't matter. But it's not easy as long as you think of yourself as wearing a body, a costume, a Halloween costume, which reminds me that on Halloween, Mandi is going to be the guest of the speakeasy, and everybody's invited. And I bet that Joni has the link to that too.
I bet you're right, Joni. Thank you, thank you, thank you for reminding us about that as well, Dove, because that'll be part of our Halloween celebration for sure here. And anyway, this is just such a great conversation. I'm enjoying it so much. But we have our time to think about it. And so I would like to, if Mandi would indulge us and reread the poem for us, or if any have any closing thoughts as well. But I will put the poem up.
That'd be great. Thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to seeing the new Abbott and Costello.
I know, it's exciting. Which is going to be which, though?
That's such a double. I love your friendship. That's so brilliant, lovely. Thank you.
It is adorable. It is adorable. I'm so grateful. Grateful that Rafi came into our lives. That's for sure. Of course, I'm always grateful for Dove. So, all right. So here we are. Soul Power. The mic is yours, Miss Mandi.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Dov, as well, for saying about the talk. So it's going to be a power poem workshop. And in that workshop, which is going to be 2 hours, I'm going to teach people how to, where the power is in the power poems and how you create your own power poems. And that is empowering to make your own ones. So that's what that workshop's going to be about on Halloween. Yeah. So thanks for mentioning that. So this is Soul Power. I am the firstborn, spotless, eternally free. This is the only truth about me. I am infinite abundance, shining brighter than a sundance, existing as everything at the same time, omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent, divine, fulfilling, expressing, regenerating, multiplying, overflowing good for all, infinitely supplying love, protection, companionship, provision. I am all of this with no possible division, inseparable from God. I am the soul of generosity, demonstrating good with lightning velocity. I'm a continuous flow of giving and receiving, outpouring, beyond any human conceiving. To be an outlet for good is my sole purpose, my brand. Only in this direction do I feel myself expand, a river of bounty for the benefit of all, thriving as I am obeying soul's call.
Thank you so much for that, Mandy.
Thank
Dove, please go ahead. Dove, you have your hand up?
No, sorry.
Okay.
It was still up.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Thank you all so very much. I appreciate everyone coming. Appreciate you, Mandy. And I'm so grateful for you.
Feel better, feel better.
Yeah, and this is invigorating. So definitely so helpful. And looking forward to joining Mandy at the Speakeasy on Halloween.
Thank you so much, Lynn, for doing this. And thanks for everybody. It's just been a real pleasure. Knocks me out every week.
I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, my dear, we'll see you next week then. And
Andy, I just asked, are you in Manchester?
I'm near Manchester. I'm just 35 minutes away from Manchester. So, yeah, very near there. Yeah. Why, are you going to come and visit me? Yes, please.
Someone who's from the UK about, I invited her to come this morning, but she was busy, but I told her Mandy is from Manchester. And
Well, I'm very near. Yeah. You weren't far wrong.
I love it. I love it. Now, Susie and Wade are in the UK right now. They just landed in London this morning as our friends who are from Vancouver. So they're going to be traveling around the UK and some other places. So,
Right. Sorry, I have to go now. It's lovely
all
to
right.
see you.
Love you
you.
all.